The promise was simple: show up every day, do good work, and the company will take care of you. For decades, that understanding held American families together. It paid for suburban houses, college educations, and comfortable retirements. It created the foundation of what we called the middle class. But in 2026, that promise is quietly being rewritten, not with dramatic announcements or emergency board meetings, just through carefully worded press releases about operational efficiency and strategic restructuring. The language sounds corporate and bloodless, but behind each statement lies a human story. Families losing health insurance, parents explaining to teenagers why college might not be possible anymore. Workers in their 50s discovering that 2 decades of experience means nothing when algorithms can do the job faster and cheaper. 7 major American corporations are leading this transformation. Together, they're eliminating more than 150,000 positions in 2026, and these aren't temporary layoffs or seasonal adjustments. These are permanent removals of entire job categories that once formed the backbone of American employment. The companies involved aren't struggling startups or failing businesses. They're some of the most profitable enterprises in human history, generating hundreds of billions in revenue while systematically reducing their human workforce. What makes this moment different from previous economic downturns is the reason behind the cuts. This isn't about surviving a recession or responding to market pressure. It's about replacing humans with systems that never sleep, never complain, and never ask for raises. The technology has finally reached the point where human labor, even skilled human labor, has become optional in ways that seemed impossible just 5 years ago. Let's start with the company that's turning job elimination into an art form. Amazon didn't just change how we shop. It rewrote the rules of what employment looks like in America. For years, it was seen as a job creator, building warehouses across the country and hiring hundreds of thousands of workers. But 2026 tells a different story. Behind the public announcements of 14,000 job cuts lies a more aggressive reality. Internal sources suggest the actual number approaches 30,000 positions, representing the largest workforce reduction in company history. These aren't warehouse workers or delivery drivers. Amazon has been quietly eliminating technical positions that once seemed untouchable. Software engineers earning $150,000 annually, cloud architects managing billion-dollar systems, and AI specialists who built the very technology that's now replacing them. The irony is deliberate and crushing. The driving force isn't financial distress. Amazon's revenue continues to grow and their market position remains dominant. The cuts are happening because the company has invested over $50 billion in automation technology that can perform complex tasks without human intervention. A single modern Amazon warehouse, costing $400 million to build, can operate almost entirely without human workers. Robots pick products, algorithms manage inventory, and AI systems predict customer demand with accuracy that human analysts can't match. For workers being eliminated, the process feels surreal. You arrive at work to find your access card deactivated. Your computer login has been disabled. A manager explains that your position has been optimized through technological improvements. There's no accusation of poor performance, no suggestion that you failed at anything. The system simply doesn't need you anymore. The ripple effects extend far beyond Amazon facilities. When a major employer eliminates 30,000 positions, it reduces spending power in communities across the country. These workers stop eating lunch at local restaurants, buying cars from nearby dealerships, and shopping at small businesses. The economic activity that supported entire commercial districts begins to evaporate. What Amazon is demonstrating on a massive scale, other technology companies are implementing with equal determination. Microsoft built its empire on the promise of empowering human productivity. Their software tools were designed to make workers more efficient, not to replace them entirely. But in 2026, that philosophy is shifting toward elimination rather than enhancement. The company has cut approximately 15,000 positions, targeting areas that were once considered the safest in the technology industry. Software engineers who created Windows updates, cloud specialists who managed Azure systems, and cybersecurity experts who protected critical infrastructure are being replaced by AI systems that can perform the same tasks continuously without breaks or benefits. The human element that once made technology development collaborative and creative is being systematically removed in favor of algorithmic efficiency. The financial logic is undeniable. A software engineer earning $140,000 annually plus benefits costs Microsoft roughly $200,000 per year. An AI system that can perform equivalent tasks requires a one-time development investment and minimal ongoing maintenance. Over 5 years, the savings per position approach $800,000. When multiplied across thousands of employees, the numbers become impossible for shareholders to ignore. For workers being displaced, the transition feels particularly cruel because many of them helped create the technology that's eliminating their jobs. They wrote code that learns from human behavior, designed systems that automate complex processes, and built platforms that make human intervention unnecessary. Their expertise and creativity made their own obsolescence possible. The psychological impact goes beyond immediate job loss. These are professionals who define themselves through their technical skills and problem-solving abilities. Discovering that machines can replicate and exceed their capabilities creates an existential crisis that extends far beyond financial concerns. When the most educated and technically skilled workers become expendable, it suggests that no job category remains permanently safe. The automotive industry, once the symbol of American manufacturing strength, is experiencing its own version of this transformation. General Motors is eliminating 25,000 positions as part of what executives describe as the transition to electric vehicle production. The language sounds forward-thinking and environmentally conscious, but the reality involves destroying entire categories of employment that supported working-class families for generations. Traditional automotive manufacturing required complex human skills. Assembly line workers understood how engines functioned, could diagnose mechanical problems, and possessed knowledge that took years to develop. Electric vehicles, by contrast, have fewer moving parts and require different assembly processes that favor automation over human expertise. The transition isn't just technical, it's geographical and cultural. Traditional auto plants in Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania are closing while new electric vehicle facilities open in southern states, with lower labor costs and fewer union protections. Workers who spent decades perfecting their craft find themselves not just unemployed, but geographically stranded in communities where their skills no longer have value. For families built around automotive employment, the changes represent generational disruption. Fathers who expected to pass skilled trades to their sons discover that those trades are disappearing. Community colleges that trained automotive technicians struggle to adapt their programs for an industry that increasingly doesn't need human technicians at all. The ripple effects devastate entire regions. When a major GM plant closes, it eliminates not just direct employment, but the economic ecosystem that surrounded it. Local suppliers, restaurants, retail stores, and service businesses all lose customers simultaneously. The tax base that funded schools and municipal services contracts, creating a downward spiral that can last for decades. Even sectors that seemed immune to automation are discovering their vulnerability. Wells Fargo is closing 200 branches and eliminating 30,000 positions as banking becomes increasingly digital. These aren't just teller jobs being eliminated, but loan officers, customer service representatives, and branch managers who once formed the human face of financial services. The transformation reflects changing customer behavior accelerated by mobile banking technology. Transactions that once required in-person visits now happen through smartphone apps. Loan applications are processed by algorithms that can evaluate creditworthiness in seconds. Investment advice comes from robo-advisors that manage portfolios without human intervention. For banking employees, many of whom built careers on relationship building and local market knowledge, the transition feels like a rejection of everything they understood about their profession. A loan officer who spent years learning to evaluate character and circumstances discovers that algorithms make more consistent decisions based purely on data patterns. The community impact extends beyond employment. Bank branches served as anchor institutions in small towns and urban neighborhoods. Their closure removes not just jobs, but gathering places where community members interacted with financial professionals who understood local economic conditions. The personal relationships that once made banking feel human and approachable are being replaced by customer service chatbots and automated phone systems. The technology sector's self-cannibalization continues with Meta's aggressive workforce reduction. Meta is eliminating 20,000 positions as Mark Zuckerberg's metaverse vision collides with financial reality. The company spent over $100 billion developing virtual reality technology that consumers have largely ignored, and now shareholders are demanding a return to profitability through cost reduction rather than innovation investment. The cuts target employees who were hired during the company's most ambitious expansion phase. Virtual reality developers, augmented reality specialists, and metaverse platform designers find themselves unemployed as the company retreats from the futuristic vision that once justified their employment. What makes Meta's situation particularly brutal is the speed of the reversal. Employees who relocated across the country for positions that were marketed as defining the future of human interaction are being eliminated before their projects reach completion. The whiplash from revolutionary promise to immediate expendability creates a sense of betrayal that extends throughout Silicon Valley. The broader implications touch every aspect of American society. When technology companies that once represented unlimited growth and opportunity begin massive layoffs, it signals a fundamental shift in the relationship between innovation and employment. The assumption that technological progress creates more jobs than it eliminates is being tested in real time. Intel's decline represents the end of an era in American technological leadership. The company that powered the computer revolution is eliminating 18,000 positions as competitors surpass its manufacturing capabilities. And artificial intelligence applications require different types of processing power. Intel's struggles reflect broader challenges facing American technology companies that built their dominance on innovations that are rapidly becoming obsolete. The human cost involves engineers and technicians who dedicated their careers to semiconductor manufacturing, a field that requires extraordinary precision and expertise. Many of these workers possess knowledge that took decades to acquire, but their skills are tied to manufacturing processes that are being superseded by newer technologies developed primarily in Asia. For communities in Oregon, Arizona, and California, where Intel facilities served as economic anchors, the layoffs represent the loss of high-paying jobs that supported entire regional economies. The ripple effects touch everything from real estate values to local tax revenues that funded schools and public services. The final company driving this transformation operates in a sector that was supposed to represent America's manufacturing resurgence. Tesla is eliminating 12,000 positions as the electric vehicle market becomes increasingly competitive, and Elon Musk focuses on automation rather than human employment. The company that was once celebrated for bringing automotive manufacturing back to the United States is discovering that sustainable profitability requires reducing rather than expanding its human workforce. Tesla's approach to job elimination reflects Musk's broader philosophy that human workers are inefficient compared to automated systems. Factory workers who were hired to build the future of transportation find themselves being replaced by robots that can work continuously without breaks, benefits, or safety concerns. The irony cuts deep. Tesla positioned itself as an environmentally conscious company building technology to save the planet, but its employment practices suggest that saving the environment requires eliminating human jobs. Workers who believed they were participating in a mission to combat climate change discover that their contribution is no longer needed or wanted. The pattern that emerges from these 7 companies reveals something unprecedented in American economic history. Previous waves of job displacement were gradual, allowing workers and communities time to adapt. This transformation is happening simultaneously across multiple industries, eliminating entire categories of employment faster than new opportunities can emerge. The social fabric that held American communities together was built around stable employment that provided not just income, but identity, purpose, and social connection. When that foundation erodes, the effects ripple through families, schools, local governments, and civic institutions that depend on economically stable populations. The question that remains unanswered is whether American society can adapt to an economy where human labor becomes increasingly optional. The 7 companies driving this transformation have found technological solutions to their operational challenges, but they haven't addressed the social and political consequences of mass unemployment among educated, skilled workers. The changes we're witnessing may represent not just an economic transition, but a fundamental reshaping of American society. The promise that hard work and education would provide security and prosperity for the next generation is being tested in ways that no previous generation faced. As these transformations accelerate, the burden of adaptation falls primarily on individual workers and their families, rather than on the corporations and shareholders who benefit from increased automation. The social costs of technological progress are being externalized to communities, while the financial benefits flow to an increasingly concentrated group of owners and executives. The 150,000 jobs being eliminated by these 7 companies represent more than statistics. They represent the dreams, plans, and futures of families who believed they were building secure lives through education, hard work, and loyalty to their employers. The speed and scope of these changes suggest that the economic foundation of American middle-class life is shifting in ways that may be irreversible.